Yo, 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 everybody. How are we doing? This is a midweek stream. Just wanted to do a little preview for the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. And so what I wanted to talk about today, I just wanted to make sure that we were live. Yes, we are, which is awesome. Very good. For the yes, and we have the audio working. Bay Packers. Sweet. So what I wanted to get into today was I wanted to talk about the previewing and just talking about the Niners, the outlook for the 49ers as we head towards the first weekend of the playoffs. So for the 49ers, I think this is just the best opportunity that we're probably going to have when it comes to getting to the Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be easy by any means, but I think when you look at it, this is probably the best opportunity the Niners have to get to the Super Bowl. You look at it, I mean, if you were to ask me at the start of the year, right? We have the number one seed. So in the first divisional game, the three quarterbacks that we're going through are Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and then you're talking about Baker Mayfield too. I think all of us would have taken that 100 times out of 100. What's up, Kenny M? How are you? Yeah, I can't wait for Saturday, Kenny. It's going to be awesome. Steven in the house. How are we doing? Peter Miller here as well. I'm not really expecting a huge turnout. I'm kind of doing this a bit off the cuff. A lot of times I would do a pretty heavily edited video kind of for previews, but this time I just wanted to do a bit more of like a free-flowing kind of podcasty style as we gear up for Saturday, the divisional round. Really everything leading up to this has played into the hands of the San Francisco 49ers. You look at just how everything has worked out. I think for the vast majority of the year, the biggest competition was the Philadelphia Eagles. You're talking the Dallas Cowboys as well. Now, they're both out. You look at the other big competition, the Detroit Lions. They have, I think, an underrated matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a Buccaneers team who looked pretty darn good against Philadelphia. Baker Mayfield's looking really confident. Robert Keller in the house. How we doing, Robert? Great to have you here, buddy. And but I think when you look at this from like an outside perspective, and the Niners were obviously in a massive Super Bowl window. You have, Brock Purdy on the rookie contract. You have all these great players, some of whom coming towards, the end of the career. Of course, Trent Williams is the one guy that really sticks out with that aspect. But overall, I just see this is the chance for the 49ers. I think it's never going to get better than what we have it right now. We have everyone outside of Hufanga, who's a great player. Everyone else is healthy. Everyone else is ready to go. We have to capitalize on this opportunity. Again, if you asked any 49er fan leading up to the season, would you take being the number one seed in the NFC? And would you take, when you play your first postseason game, it's going to be Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and Baker Mayfield as the quarterbacks that you're going to have to get through to get to the Super Bowl. We have to strike while the iron is hot. How's it going, Cato? Great to see you, Cato. So, and I'm not going to say that any of these games are going to be easy. I don't think the game on Saturday is going to be easy. The Packers have been playing really good football lately. They've won 4 in a row. Colin Page says, best chance we have, yes, in a long time. I couldn't agree more. If you look at even the last couple of years, 2021, the Niners Look, that was a good team, but we had a tough road to get there. You had to go at Dallas, then at Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers in the cold weather. Then you had to go at the Rams, playing them for the third time that year in LA. Then you go 2022. We take care of business at home against Seattle, against Dallas, and then going at Philadelphia. And that Eagles team was legitimate. So, and of course, we lost Brock Purdy. So in that game, in the first quarter, it's not going to get much better and easier than this. I think that's just something that we have to accept. And I think Kyle Shanahan, I think everyone recognizes it. One of my favorite things that I've been watching lately is if you guys haven't seen it, it's Fred Warner, him and his wife. They have a YouTube channel. I think it's the Warner House or the Warner Family or something. But Fred just talking about how they're ready to go, how they're prepared. They're not going to overlook the Green Bay Packers, and they absolutely shouldn't. If they did, that would be a massive mistake. One thing that the Green Bay Packers just absolutely dominating the Dallas Cowboys did is I think it kind of woke up the 49ers. Not that they necessarily needed it, but it's like, no, the Packers, they're a really good team. Now, but I did just want to kind of talk a little bit about the opportunity that the 49ers have now in the postseason it doesn't get much. It's not easy, and I'm trying to think of another word, but now is the time we have to make this happen. There's never going to be a better time. You think, in the next couple of years, like the NFC right now it's for the taking. The AFC is by far the superior conference. We have to strike again while Brock Purdy is on his rookie contract, while we still have a guy like Trent Williams, while we still have all these weapons together in their prime, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo. You look on the defense, Bosa, Warner, all these great players. Now is the time to do it. And so Kenny has a comment here. I think the Packers are very good, but I think they will learn what exceptional looks like. Fork Tail, how's it going? Yep, I agree. Shifty Niners may have been sleeping on Green Bay last week, but not after the dismantling of the Cowboys. 100%. Now, and look, I don't think. And here's the benefit that the Niners have is that so many of our key players have been in big time games and they've been in the playoffs. I mean, of course, you look at a lot of Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, even Brock Purdy has 3 playoff games of experience. Well, 2 in a bit, but he has the experience. Fred Warner, Charvarius Ward, he's played in big games. He's won a Super Bowl, unfortunately against us, but it is one of those things where we have a lot of guys who they have to know the moment. Tashaun Gibson as well, another guy who's been in the league forever. They know the moment. They're not gonna overlook anyone. I think when I looked at the Cowboys-Packers game, to me the Cowboys just looked so incredibly unprepared. I don't know what you guys think, but I thought they just looked. I mean, they did look really bad. I mean, the score doesn't even do it justice, the final score. But to me, the Cowboys looked like a team that played on Monday Night Football and then had to go play Thursday Night Football. Logan Ryan, Cato, perfect. Logan Ryan, another guy who's been there, done that. And even if he doesn't really play, he's a guy where on the sideline, in the locker room, he's going to get these guys amped up, ready to go, locked in, and just kind of know what the expectations are. The great thing about this team is that there are so many leaders and different types of leaders. You have Fred Warner, who's incredibly vocal. You have Nick Bosa, who kind of leads by example. You have Brock Purdy that has that kind of swagger about himself, that confidence. Trent Williams, who's just this towering monster of a guy. So now is the time, and I think that the 49ers, we have to capitalize on this because things are going to, I think in the NFC right now, I think, we have obviously we're in a window. We've been in a window, but the NFC is relatively weak, and now is our chance to get back to the Super Bowl. Does the Ravens game at home cause concerns if we made the Super Bowl? Colin, that's a really good question. And look, that's, it's one of, when I think about that game, potentially, any game from here on out is going to be tough. I think the Packers, this is going to be a tough game. If we get past there, whether it's the Lions or the Buccaneers, that's going to be a tough game. Super Bowl, there's no easy games at this point. When I look at it, does it concern me? Maybe a little bit, but at the end of the day, there was a lot of things that went wrong for the 49ers in that game. Of course, we saw all the crazy tipped passes. I think that was a really good learning experience. Of course, if it comes down to a Super Bowl matchup, Niners Ravens, if that happens, there's a lot of changes the Niners are going to have to make, of course, especially Brock Purdy's going to have to play a whole heck of a lot better. But let's not forget in that game, and I know the game got just so out of hand, just so quickly in the third quarter. The first half of that game, we were dreadful. Yet we were only down maybe a touchdown at most at halftime, despite Purdy throwing interceptions in the red zone and all these other crazy intercepts. Like, that probably won't normally happen. I mean, he threw, 4 picks that night? That's not going to happen again. So, and we were still in that game. And then, look, once the second half started, things went, south real fast. But we were still in that game despite a horrible first quarter. It's a bit of a cause for concern, but at the end of the day, I think this is a chance where, my expectations for the 49ers are, I expect us to get to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not really going to, when it comes to the playoffs, I'm not one for predictions, but I think at this point, when we look at this team, we look at the experience the coaching staff has in the playoffs, the players, all of our star players, anything less would be a massive disappointment. Again, I'm not taking anything for granted. I'm not taking anything as a given. But if we're not there, you feel like it's a massively lost opportunity. So hopefully we can make it happen. Did you see his interview with Steve Young? Asked Cato. I saw some of it. For a guy who's in his second year in the league, he's just so professional and so comfortable and confident. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to see a quarterback play like that. It's one of those things where I see when I compare even a guy like Brock Purdy to a Jimmy Garoppolo, and Garoppolo has many flaws, but one of the flaws I thought Garoppolo had was he just would kind of get in the pocket. He would sometimes just get really nervous, and he, just didn't really know how to maneuver the pocket nearly as well as a guy like Brock Purdy, which is crazy when you look at just the difference in experience. But, I thought the interview was really cool, and I love that hype video, the Steve Young. It was awesome. It was awesome. So Robert Keller, we have a better defense than Green Bay. I agree with that, and kind of getting into Green Bay a little bit. David McNiner says, "What up, Shifty? Please check your mic settings." I'm guessing the mic's kind of coming in a little bit odd. Let me just, 1 second. I'm going to unplug it and plug it back in. Let me know if that's any better. Let me know if that is any better. Hey, yo, Smoke 82's in the house. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's go. In my opinion, Shanahan didn't get deep in his bag versus Baltimore because it wasn't a must-win, and he probably thinks this is Fork-tailed Devil, because it wasn't a must-win, and he probably thinks we'll see him again. I don't know about that. So wait, it's not better or it is better? Let me see if I could hear myself. Might hear like a funky echo. It wasn't a must-win, and he probably thinks we'll see him again. It did. Okay, yeah, I can. It's kind of like robotic-y. Bear with me for 1 second. All right. Well, look, we're going to rock and roll with this. Let me see if you guys can hear me. Yeah, it does have that kind of robotic-y sound to it. I could hear it. But we're going to power through, and then I will take a look at it afterwards. Don't want to spend too much time. Sorry for the sound quality. But so, anyways, um, check if that's if check if that's the mic that is projecting your voice. Sometimes the computer defaults to your computer. Yeah, I have the audio input as the Yeti. Hmm. Maybe. Look, we're gonna power through anyways. So apologies for the sound quality. Kenny M says he can hear me good. The fact that psyched to hear your thoughts. Thank you, and Tol Pagan. Great to have you here, Anne. Going back to I love this show from Singapore. Can I get a shout out? There's your shout out, buddy. I like your username. Interesting username. You know who you are, but so I don't know. Forktail, I'm gonna have to say I kind of don't agree with that was a massive game. There was still the number one seed on the line. There's so many different things that can happen. I don't think that Shanahan is like, I'm going to hold back here because maybe we played them in the Super Bowl. I see where you're coming from with that thought. I just don't think that that would be the case. Just my thought. I just don't know if that would be the case or not. I doubt Shanahan is thinking that way when you're in a game, big game, against a really good opponent. I think you're calling your best plays. And I thought, look, a lot of the play calls I think were fine. Just didn't execute. And some unlucky bounces too in that game against the Ravens. Shifty Niners ballin' says Beige Noir. How we doing? Cato Chang, random thought. But do you think there's any chance CMC moves to slot wide receiver after his contract is up to lengthen his career? And he can still run the ball in third. Interesting. I don't think so. Honestly, I think CMC would probably. I don't think he would do that. I think he's probably going to be a running back until it comes to a point where he can just, and once he no longer can do that, and at a full time, I think he'll probably hang up his cleats. But I just don't think that'll be anytime soon. And maybe JP Mason or someone becomes the workhorse back. I think that's still a ways away. I think we still got a number of years, and we've obviously seen just how important Christian McCaffrey is to this team ever since he's joined the team. I think probably he's arguably the most valuable player on the team. That's how important Christian McCaffrey is. So, but it is an interesting thought. Now, getting on to the Packer game. San Francisco is favored by 9 points. The over-under is 50.5, so they're probably thinking both teams score in the 20 points. To me, that sounds about right. Maybe one team scores 30, another about 20. I think it's a pretty fair line, all things considered. Look, the Green Bay Packers have been playing well. They've won 4 games in a row, which is, of course, impressive. You look at some of the opponents, and it's like, what do you think we need to really prep for, watch for with the Packers, says Ann. Excuse me. I'm just worried this year is going to take its toll on his production. I don't know about that, Cato. I mean, McCaffrey's in such great condition and whatnot. And, maybe we kind of wean off him a little bit as time goes on. But he's so good that it's so hard to not give him the ball. So when it comes to the game against the Green Bay Packers, you look at some of their players, notable players who are not practicing, Jair Alexander, A.J. Dillon. The Packers, and what I read and what Mike LaFleur said, is the Packers they're just kind of doing like walk-through practices this week. Let's not forget the Packers played on Sunday, and then they're going to have to play on a short week in San Francisco. We're coming off so much time off, and these players are rested and just ready to go. These guys really want to hit some people too. The 49ers, like especially the defenders like Warner and Greenlaw and all these like really physical players, they're anxious to get out there and like really hit players, I think. But yeah, the Green Bay Packers are, in terms of practice, it's going to be, I know that they've just played a game. Maybe you could argue that is there a rust with the Niners? I don't think that's really going to happen. But Green Bay clearly, they had to play that extra game. One of their edge rushers, Kingsley and Egbare, he's out for the rest of the postseason. He's out for this game. So with a torn ACL, that kind of hurts their pass rush a little bit. But here's the key. So I wanted to really hone in on the last 4 games of the Packers because they have won 4 in a row. Yeah, they beat the Panthers. They beat the Bears. They barely beat the Panthers. They barely beat the Bears. The big thing that sticks out to me is, yes, Green Bay's O-line is quietly very good. Niners D too much. Is Aaron Jones has been on a tear these last 4 games. He's been unstoppable, essentially. So I kind of looked at the last 4 games, and I broke it down. And in each of the 4 games, he's been very consistent. Just look at his numbers. But averages over the last 4 games, Aaron Jones, 21 carries, 119 yards. He's averaging 5.6 yards per carry through the last 4 games. So over 100 yards, 20 carries, just incredibly efficient. So when we talk about Jordan Love, who has been playing really well, and I'm not knocking him, but I think the key here is Aaron Jones. You got to slow down Aaron Jones, because if he's going, that's when Jordan Love can do the play action. He can sit back in the pocket. He, of course, there's a lot of young receivers, but when you have to commit so much to stopping the run, that's when the play action can be most effective. So if we can shut down the run, that's something that we have to do 100%. The Niners defense, typically really good at it. Getting Arik Armstead back is really going to help out too, but that is just something that just really stuck out to me. Jordan Love, again, he's been playing good football, no question, but Aaron Jones is the guy who's been making their offense go. Didn't the Panthers score like 30? Says Kato. Yes, that game was 33-30. So look, yeah, Jordan Love playing good, but Aaron Jones, he's the key difference maker. Look at that game against Dallas. Aaron Jones was just carving them up. 7 yards here, 11 yards there, 8 yards there. Not only that, you look at all the time Jordan Love, then the play action. Dallas is like bit so hard on the run. Then Jordan Love, all the time in the world back there, guys are wide open. The Dallas were awful. They were just dreadful in that game. But it is one of those things where the key is stopping Aaron Jones. Now, Green Bay O-line, yeah, been quietly good. We are not Dallas. Best be ready to yeah, exactly. Yes, the Panthers scored 30. Green Bay played a near perfect game against the Cavs. They have peaked. Thank God Arik Armstead will be back. George Costanza, I'm shaking. Niners going to... Melissa's in the house. Hi, Shifty L. Saw the notification and forgot about it. Feels like his game could be over after like 8 possessions. Both. So here's an interesting take, and it's great to have everybody here. This was relatively last minute, but I was going to do a video. I was going to do I typically during the season when I do previews, it'll be like a pretty somewhat edited video, but I just thought this would be more fun, a little bit more interactive. But here's an interesting take, and let me know what you guys think about this. Of course, whenever it comes to, at the very start of the game, when it comes to the coin toss, 99 times out of 100, if we win the coin toss, I want us to defer, get the ball to start the second half. This might be the one case where I think maybe if we win the coin toss, we choose to receive. Or else if Green Bay wins the coin toss and they defer, I would be 100% okay with it. And I'm going to explain why. Carcast, how's it going, buddy? What Green Bay did against Dallas, the first drive of the game, Green Bay, 8 minutes off the clock, and they score a touchdown. Now, I'm not saying that Green Bay would be able to do that to our defense necessarily, but that long sustained drive sows, there's really the seed of doubt kind of gets planted into the mind of, I think, the Cowboy defenders. It takes the crowd completely out of it. Just an exhausting 8-minute drive of God knows, I can't remember how many plays, that ends in 7 points. To me, the Niners, here's the thing with the Niners, we have been one of the, if not the best team this year in the NFL, scoring points on our first drive. I want to say that this year we set a record for the most points scored on our first drive in 49er history. I remember seeing a graphic in one of the games, something to that effect. But we are really, really good on our first drive, right? So if we can go out there, if we get the ball to start the game, let's say if we have that 7-minute drive, put up 7 points, then Green Bay is a bit like, whew, okay. Then if our defense can get a stop, whether it's 3 and out or what have you, then we can get another drive going, even put up 3 if we can get 10-point lead. All of a sudden, Green Bay, and we're talking maybe the first quarter almost being over at this point, all of a sudden Green Bay is going to have to start pressing a little bit, going to start getting a little bit nervous. Pressure really starts to ramp up. The one thing where I think we don't want to happen to us is obviously the reverse. So this would actually be an interesting case where I would consider whether we win the coin toss, that we actually choose to receive the ball, or I'd be pretty okay with if Green Bay wins the coin toss and they're like, we'll defer. Normally, I'm much more in favor of deferring, but I think Green Bay's offense, obviously they're playing with so much confidence coming off that game against Dallas, that it would be pretty awesome if we could kind of show them how it's done, how we do it 49ers style. So it's the Kid 916 in the house. How's it going, buddy? Great to see you. Play clean and get the job done. Kyle knows what he's doing, says Beige, 100%. That's, look, Matt LaFleur has a number of playoff games experience. Kyle Shanahan has a ton of experience in the playoffs. He's 6-3 in the playoffs with the 49ers, of course, coaching for the Atlanta Falcons at offensive coordinator. And then you look at all our players who played in so many different playoff games. So I think it is one of those cases where these guys are going to be ready. They know what's at stake, and they're familiar with playoff football, but we have no excuses. There's zero excuses the 49ers have. Let's be honest. We're the number 1 seed. We're at home. We're playing against team. Look at Jordan Love, and it's not to knock these guys. Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and Baker Mayfield. Again, if you asked anyone at the start of the season, this is the situation we're going to be in, everyone takes that 100 out of 100. Cato says, I disagree. After watching us in the Eagles game, I'd still feel confident starting on defense and lapping their team. That's a good, and I can understand the argument too. Where if you want to defer, because look, it's always great having that kind of in your back pocket where hey, we're getting the ball to start the second half. So I wouldn't be annoyed or anything, but if we defer, let's say if we win the toss and we defer, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, this is a disaster or anything, but I wouldn't hate the decision to want to start off with the ball. Also, if we don't score, that might have an even worse effect on their mindset. I mean, possibly, yeah. Although I look back and you mentioned the Eagles game, I think, earlier, right? That Eagles game, I mean, we were down 6-0 and we came back and just dominated. So I don't necessarily, I mean, of course, it wouldn't be ideal if we got the ball and we did nothing, but wouldn't be anything to panic with either. Melissa says, I've been watching closely, and in these playoff games, I could see the night and day difference in downfield blocking between the 49ers and all the other teams, star players that just don't want to block. And that was, so the weird thing with the Cowboys game and the Cowboys and Packers, straight from the get-go, the body language of CeeDee Lamb, what was that about? Like, he was dropping easy catches, but the body language, and I'm no body language expert, but it was just dreadful. The whole Cowboys, they looked deflated. They looked like again, to me, the Cowboys looked like, imagine if in the regular season, if you had to play Monday Night Football and then you had to come back and play a Thursday night game. That's how they looked. They just didn't look ready. They didn't look prepared. They didn't look like they wanted to be out there, which is just insane to me. But, Kenny M. Dallas was 10-1 when scoring first. Not good if the other team did. That was a good plan for LaFleur. Look, they executed really well in the first drive. They threw a lot of different looks at the Cowboys defense, and the Cowboys defense wasn't ready. The amount of times you saw guys wide open downfield, and you look at it, just guys blowing coverages, blowing assignments, not being disciplined, just crazy. I think our defense should be able to get off the field quickly if the Cheeseheads get the ball first. I would hope so. Forktail says 100% if Niners can't stop the run and let Green Bay win time possession. Green Bay has a chance, otherwise they lose. Jones is the biggest threat, not Love. I completely agree with you, Forktail. And that's what I was kind of mentioning earlier, because I was like, look, I don't want to look at the season stats necessarily for the Green Bay Packers, like the whole regular season, because the team is very different. I mean, this is Jordan Love's first season starting. He's going to get a lot better as the season went on, and that's exactly what he did. But the key for me was you look at their last 4 games, And of their last Aaron Jones has played in their last 5 games. You look at the just before they went on their 4-game win streak, they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look at Aaron Jones' numbers. He only had 53 yards rushing. I can't remember what the yards per carry were, but in all 4 of their wins, including the game against Dallas, Aaron Jones every single game over 100 yards, at least 5 yards per carry, and scored a bunch of touchdowns. So that's the key, because when any team and you can get that balance offensively, it just makes everything so much easier. Then the defense has to account for everything. But if you can shut down that one aspect of the game, then the coach can be like, okay, maybe we have to go away from this. I think it also does help a little bit too that, and I'd ideally like for every team to be 100% healthy, but Jair Alexander, again, today, not practicing. Then you look at a guy like A.J. Dillon, not practicing today, which I think could be a big thing because A.J. Dillon, really good, especially in those short yardage situations. When the runner for Dallas, Melissa says, when the runner for Dallas ran back toward their own end zone trying to escape getting time. Yeah, that was such a bad effort. And that's why I've seen some videos of Cowboy fans in recent days, and there's absolutely no question that, like, I would be super annoyed. I mean, it's one thing if you lose a game, and even if you lose badly, but I just think the lack of effort, and like, it was just crazy to me. Love hasn't seen the Niners D this week. Better introduce them early. Yeah, that's true. Speaking of the Cowboys D, how great would it be for Dan Quinn to go to Seattle? Yeah, Dan Quinn, I don't know. That was just, and crazy guys in the house, man. Sorry, crazy guy, for your, I feel bad for your Cowboys. I feel bad for you for how just the Cowboys game went, because again, I think the lack of effort just was embarrassing. I thought it was just awful. DJG, and are all the playoff games going to be behind a paywall? How long before the? No, I don't know if that's going to happen. Let me see. Well, there was that one game on the game on Peacock or something, wasn't it? I hope that doesn't become a trend, but at the end of the day, the NFL is going to try and make money any way they can. But then the NFL, the officials aren't full time, and then there's I could probably rant about that for about a half an hour, about like just the NFL, just some of the issues and problems that I have with the NFL. But overall, when I look at the Packers, and here's the thing with the Packers too, is like what I've noticed is that they had a really good game against the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys were just really, really sloppy, especially offensively. Like the pick six that Prescott threw to Darnell Savage, that was just telegraphed. Absolutely telegraphed. It felt like before the snap, I could have jumped that. It was a little bit like how when Mooney Ward read that pick six from Kyler Murray in the game at Arizona, just read the play through and through. But the Cowboys just looked so deflated, and it didn't look like a team that's hosting a playoff game. You're the number 2 seed, and they just look dreadful. Peacock featuring Taylor Swift. Eventually will be. They were testing it out. Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. As long as those streaming services, if you can sign up for it and then just cancel it, then maybe they'll be like, oh crap, this isn't working. I folded and just got NFL Plus Premium for $15 for the next month, and I canceled knowing, but yeah, that's a good thing to do, Ann, I think that's a good point. If you guys have any questions, or if you want to, feel free to drop them in the chat too. My thoughts on the game, or even just NFL questions or what have you. But, I think when it comes to if I'm Green Bay, my mindset, if I'm Green Bay, is the fact that, look, if I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm totally building up the whole, nobody believes in us, nobody's given us a shot. And if I'm Green Bay, I think I'm going to be hyper aggressive, because look, I think there's a reason why the Niners are favored significantly in this game. Top to bottom of the roster, the Niners are a better team. But in the NFL, sometimes it's the game of inches, whether it's just maybe you just get a pass, or maybe it's just not a fumble. All these different things can obviously play into it. But if I'm Green Bay, I'm being hyper aggressive. You want to... Hey, Mark. Thanks for that, buddy. Peacock did a bad job broadcasting bad replays, putting the touchdown in the score. I actually, yeah. What was the game that was on Peacock? I can't remember. Was it? It wasn't the Cowboys, was it? Because whatever thing I watched it on, I don't remember seeing that or anything significantly bad. But if I'm Green Bay, I'm taking chances. I'm throwing the ball down the field. When it comes to defensively, I'm going to throw out some blitzes. Even though Brock Purdy is one of the best in the NFL, if not the best against the blitz, I'm throwing out blitzes. I'm going to blitz the hell out of him. If I'm, let's say, the defense coordinator, Joe Barry for the Green Bay Packers, what I'm looking at is I'm going to be like, let's say, Jair, assuming Jair plays. Be like, Jair, if you think that you can jump this route, jump it. If you give it up, whatever. The big thing, what it means for the 49ers, though, is that I think if the 49ers just play sound fundamental football, take the plays that are there. Yes, you want to do all the things where you win the turnover battle, control the clock, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, if the 49ers, you just have to, watch your assignments, blocking assignments, defensive assignments, play sound football, and we should win this game. But if I'm Green Bay, I'm coming out guns blazing. And I'm going to just, if I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm dialing up, like throw it deep. What's the worst? Yeah, maybe you get an interception, but maybe it's just like a glorified punt. You never know. But maybe you get pass interference. We know that Mooney Ward is liable for that. Of course, you could potentially get a big catch, but it is a case where if I'm Green Bay, my mindset is I'm going to be really, really aggressive and force the 49ers to maybe get them a little bit uncomfortable. Defensively, yeah, I'm going to pressure. I'm going to play man coverage. I'm going to right up there, and I'm going to tell my DBs, if you feel like you got to read on a play, go for it. Maybe they give up a big play, and maybe it leads to touchdowns. At the end of the day, I think Green Bay, they have to think we have to really force ourselves to make some big plays if we're going to win this game. But yeah, I really think that this is the year. I'm not going to make any predictions necessarily, but what I can say is if I'm the 49ers, we have no excuses. We have the home field advantage. You look at all the analytics. We have a ton of rest. Some of our players, have been off for a couple of weeks. So you like to see, the big thing is you want to see, I think initially, is you want to see the 49ers, that there's no rust, that they come out strong, that they are prepared, they're in rhythm, they're consistent. But I think I think something that we're going to be leaning on a lot is it's going to be the run game. The Packers, not the best team against the run. So you're going to see Christian McCaffrey. I think you're going to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell out there. Of course, you're going to see some of those plays where Deebo Samuel's going to get the ball. But and this is a big game for the Packers. Matt LaFleur, he wants to get revenge from what Kyle Shanahan has done. The Packers, a lot of these players, they've been around there for a number of years. They want revenge. This is going to be an absolute battle, and it's one that I really, really can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Dallas joke, that's not a logo, it's a rating, 1 star. I feel like Jair Brown is the best bet to pick off Love. Interesting, right? We just need to be grounded and focused. And that's the great thing when you have, because sometimes when you have, let's say, by your roster, you could be a really talented roster, but you maybe don't have that veteran experience. Whereas our guys have been through it all. We've been to the Super Bowl, we've been to NFC Championship games, we won on the road, we've won at home. There's no excuse. I really won't accept any excuses for the 49ers. I think we just got to go out there, but do our thing and just make it happen with we got to run the ball. I want to see us just do what we do best, and that's just dominate in the trenches. Run behind Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, get, of course, George Kittle and Juszczyk involved, and see if the Packers can stop the run. And if they can, good for them. We have Kittle, Deebo, Ayuk to throw to. McCaffrey, of course, we can throw to as well. Jawan Jennings is going to be back. And see if they can stop that. And once they start going back to try and stop the pass, bam, hit them with the run again. Cato Chang, us because it's our deal. That was the Drake Jackson specialty. Man, whatever. It's such a bummer that Drake Jackson, he had such a good week 1, 3 sacks, and then just never really heard from him again. Defensively, what I think the 49ers, where I'm feeling pretty good is that we saw earlier in the year when we had our bye week, and off the bye week we were at Jacksonville. And that's where I thought our defensive line got the most pressure, was at its best. You know, Chase Young and Nick Bosa. Then, of course, getting Eric Armstead back. And Eric Armstead, if there's one thing I'll say about Eric Armstead, is that when it comes to playoff time, this guy comes to play. All of his best plays that I think of Eric Armstead, they're all in the playoffs. You have obviously Javon Hargrave, and you have a good rotation with some other guys. I saw that we signed back Austin Bryant, but Cleveland Farrell's going to be out. But we have Randy Gregory to go in there. Is maybe Kerry Hyder possibly going to play this game? Who knows? But I want to see us get pressure, of course, on Jordan Love. The Packers, pretty good team when it comes to pass blocking. So, but this is where you have your best guys need to play their best games. This is where you want to see Bosa come to play. And Bosa's been really good. He hasn't been putting up the same numbers that we saw last year with like 18, 19 sacks. But he's been good. He's been disruptive. But this is where you want to see the big plays, where you see the sacks, you see the forced fumbles, you force him to throw the ball early. This is do or die time. It's do or die. Go Ducks! Yes, Eric is also a California native. He is from Sacramento, I believe. LaFleur is actually my biggest concern besides Jones. He is a very high-level coach, says Forktail. I agree. I think LaFleur is a really good coach, and they've, I think LaFleur, I think one of the questions that Green Bay had is how good will LaFleur look without a guy like Aaron Rodgers? And I think he's answered a lot of that. Look, there was some struggles early on in the year for Green Bay. Natural when you have a quarterback who hasn't really played much. But as the season went on, Jordan Love got a lot better. But to me, the difference maker really was, especially the last four, it's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, if you can get your running back averaging over 5 yards every carry, and he's been having really good games, that just makes things so much easier on your quarterback. If you're starting like 2nd and 4 on every time you're moving the chains, if it's 2nd and 4, you have the entire playbook open. Kenny, unfortunately, our guys run much better routes, and Kyle has better play designs. I noticed the Packers were very tight on the pass coverage. They didn't care if they got a flag or two. They weren't going to let the Cowboys beat them with the pass. Well, that's a good point, and it is one of those things where yes, I think I think the Green Bay is going to be hyper aggressive. I think they're going to be hyper aggressive when it comes to their game plan, and so don't be surprised if they blitz like crazy, which Brock Purdy is really, really good against the blitz. And if they're gonna have their cornerbacks man press right up there in the face of the receivers. But here's the thing: that's where you have guys like Ayuk, Debo with their physical ability. Ayuk's route running ability can get open quickly. Also, you could have maybe someone like McCaffrey kind of just peel out and he can make guys miss. So. It's all well and good to do that, but I think Brock Purdy has showed that he can handle the blitz pretty darn well. But Shanahan is still better than LaFleur, in my opinion, but it's close. Look, I think, I do think Shanahan is probably a better coach. I'll put it this way. If Green Bay said, how about we trade you, Matt LaFleur, for Kyle Shanahan, I would say no. But obviously biased. But look, I think Matt LaFleur, no disrespect, he's a good coach. This season kind of proves it. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be a rebuild year for the Packers. And for the first half of the year, it kind of did. But he really turned things around. You got to give him credit for that, as well as all the players. He's the anti-Bosa. Eric Armstead always has splash plays or two. Yeah, Armstead has been just in his career in the playoffs, he's been phenomenal. Really, really good. So hopefully that continues. Look, Eric Armstead coming off an injury. However, he has had a lot of time as well to prepare and get ready. So got to go see you Saturday, Shifty Cato. Thank you very much. Great. Thanks for stopping by. And of course, we got my boy John Jay in the house. How are we doing, buddy? Great to see you, John Jay. Yeah, I'm just doing a little live. I was going to record a video, and I just thought, you know what? Let me go live instead and get a little bit more interactive. Reggae Shark in the house. How we doing, Reggae? Good to see you, buddy. Mark Sorensen. The Ravens film will be watched hundreds of times by both teams. Yeah, I mean, look. Well, the Ravens are arguably the best defense in the NFL. They have studs all across their defense. And I think Green Bay have a good defense, but it's not on the level of the Baltimore Ravens. And look, you have to give credit where it's due. The Ravens made a lot of really good plays defensively, but some of those were like, can you really count on that happening every game? Like you have like when Brock Purdy, the quick snap, throws it out quickly, and then ball gets batted up. A lot of that kind of stuff where I'm like, look, great plays made by the Baltimore Ravens. Full credit to them. But those are things that are not going to happen in every game. That first interception by Purdy was just awful in that game. We're driving down. Everything's going great. And I don't know what he was thinking. But look, and here's the thing. Yeah, will Green Bay – I'm sure Green Bay will look at that and be like, here, what did Baltimore do to help stymie this 49er offense? But – that Kyle Shanahan, we've had like an extra week off, regardless of our opponent. He's also going to be looking at it, being like, okay, so what are some things we need to clean up? So, do more live. Yeah, I'll definitely consider it. I love just interacting with the people in the live. That's one thing which I find a lot more fun than I like recording the videos and doing that, but this is definitely can be a lot more fun. Christian's in the house. How's it going, buddy? Christian Medina, how are we doing? Let's go. Great to have you here. DJ says almost 10 p.m. in Ireland, right? Yes, it is. It's almost 10 p.m. I'll be on here. Get Mrs. Shifty in the podcast. She might be watching. I don't know. Are you? But if she is, that would be awesome. This is still the coolest thing ever. Okay. So we got about maybe, I'm going to hang out for about another 10, 15 minutes. Ultimately, when it comes down to this game, what do the 49ers need to do? The 49ers need to just play sound, fundamental football. And that's just, I know that's so freaking cliche, but I don't think we have to force anything. Look, Brock Purdy, he'll push the ball down the field when he needs to, when it's there. Kyle Shanahan's going to dial up a bunch of different things, but what I say is I think the 49ers need to, on paper, we are the better team, the more talented team. Now, of course, given Sunday, anything can happen, but I think we need to force the Packers to try and stop what we do well. And that's running the football with Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey, easily the leading rusher in the NFL this year. We have so many good run blocking guys. We can do so many different things in the run game. I think you're going to see a pretty decent dose of Elijah Mitchell. One of the things, too, which I want to see as well, is maybe you have Purdy in the shotgun and you have maybe Mitchell and McCaffrey either side of them. Maybe someone then splits out wide. Who knows? I think you throw a lot of different looks at Green Bay and force them to have to really think, and just maybe they hesitate, we can get a big play. But I think we're going to see McCaffrey is ready to go. He's got that nice rest, of course, week 18 off. We have the bye week, and then coming back. Is this Christian No, I was about to say ask one of the most silly questions, but I think McCaffrey is going to be ready to go. We saw him play real good in the playoffs last year. Niners need to take it one game, play at a time. No overlooking any team in the playoffs. Yeah. You have to have the right players, though, to execute other teams' game plan. Not sure Green Bay does. That's a good point, Forktail. I don't think you can, imagine if, the Carolina Panthers, if they were like, well, look what Baltimore did. We could stop the four. It's like, I don't know. Again, plus I think a lot of those plays weren't. The Niners were actually moving the ball pretty well against Baltimore in that game in the first half. The second half just became a disaster. But the Niners were actually moving the ball really well. Those funky plays just kind of messed us over. Okay, I want to say, but I'm doing a show. I'm out. All right, John Jay, I might tune into your show for a little bit. It's pretty late here, and I got to be up early in the morning. But thank you, John Jay, for stopping by. And anyone here, guys, got 25 people in here. I appreciate all of you guys for being here. If you haven't already, drop a subscription on 49ers Ultimate Report, his channel. He's going to be doing a show, sounds like, shortly. And he does shows most days of the week. So check out that for a bunch of cool 49er content. And says, that's what I mean by grounded, mainly for Purdy. Hopefully the vets can help him stay calm and focused. Obviously, he's amazing. Just don't want... I think you're right. And, and that's one of those things where I think, and I think not only that, but I think Kyle Shanahan is going to make things, or try to at least make things pretty easy for Purdy, get him comfortable. Find just easy completions. And that's something that the Niners are so good at, is identifying weaknesses in opponents where you can get that easy, maybe 6, 7 yard completion. Then you have a 2nd and 3, and you can use the entire playbook. One of the things, too, that's really important to note as well when you look at Green Bay is their linebackers, in terms of like pass coverage, are not great. Devondre Campbell and Quay Walker. Those guys can do some good things, don't get me wrong, but pass coverage, I think we're going to be attacking those guys a lot. I think you're going to be looking at this could potentially be a pretty big George Kittle game. I wouldn't be surprised, and this might be a bit of a hot take, I wouldn't be surprised too if you see Kyle Juszczyk with a couple of catches, maybe 2 or 3 catches. But I think what the Niners are going to do when it comes to a lot of the passing game is they're going to challenge Quay Walker and Devondre Campbell. Can they cover George Kittle? Can they cover Christian McCaffrey? That remains to be seen. You know, we're going to do a lot of different things, a lot of different looks. We're going to try and find those matchups. But there we are. We'll do it now. Awesome, man. And I'm sure John Jay at 49ers Ultimate Report would greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. We got Jason, Captain Niner. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Another great guy. If you guys are subscribing to channels, subscribe to Jason too. He does his thing as well. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We have 10 minutes left in the show, and we're going to play a little game. It's going to be very similar to the game that we were playing during the Green Bay-Dallas game, at the end of that game. But I want you guys to throw out a number, 0 to 99. Let's throw out a random number, and let's see the different players that we can kind of talk about. Let's talk about maybe some current players, some former players, but feel free to throw out a number between 0 and 99, and let's see if we can talk about some players that maybe players in the team currently that don't get enough love normally. Maybe we can talk about some memories of some older players. But throw out a random number between 0 and 99, and let's see who we can come up with. 47. Wow. You had to go with like one of the numbers that like almost never gets used. 47. Okay, I got a player for you, DJ. 47. Let's go with you. Let's see if you guys will remember this guy. Former like backup tight end, Billy Badgema. Do you guys remember Billy Badgema? Billy Badgema back in the day, with like that was during like the Mike Nolan era, I think. But you got DJ, fact check me on that. I think Billy Badgema, the backup tight end, was 47. I want to say. Christian, of course, going with Flash 80 right there. Good afternoon, Mike and Kim. How are we doing? Great to have you here. Yeah, guys, don't forget to drop a quick like. So, Beige Noir says number 32. Oh, there's so many guys. You could go Ricky Waters. Ricky Waters was so good on that 94 team. He was amazing. One of the other guys, I guess a little bit more recently, you had Kevin Barlow, the running back. I remember him back in like the early 2000s, Kevin Barlow. Remember we signed the safety Michael Lewis? When we signed Michael Lewis, he was the safety. He was with the Eagles, then we signed him. That was like Mike Nolan era as well. Doylan Morrison, great to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully all is good. But yeah, 32 is a good one. There's a lot of good players over the years. But yeah, Ricky Waters, the guys who stick out to me, Ricky Waters, Kevin Barlow, Michael Lewis. Right now it's what, TDP, I think, if he's still on the team. 78. Ooh, 78. That's a good one. 78. That wasn't Bob St. Clair, was it? And you can see I'm not Googling anything. No, Bob St. Clair, I think, was 79. 78. I feel like there's that's a good one. 78. I'm not sure. Who's 78? Harris Barton. Was Harris Barton 78? Harris Barton. It could be. Good That's a good one, Jason. Harris, I could be Harris Barton. What's that written on your arm? Oh, I have like just a bunch of different like tattoos and stuff. Um, Number 20, drop some 78s. And Jason, if you can, because that's kind of stumped me a little bit. It wasn't Scott Gragg. Was Scott Gragg 78 with when he was with the Niners, like the offensive tackle? Was Scott Gragg? John Thomas was a guard in the 60s. Wow. Pierce Holt, he was the D lineman, I believe, and then Harris Barton was the offensive lineman. Um, Pierce Holt, that's a good one. That's a good one. Um, Number 20, yeah, Garrison Hurst. He was awesome. Just a shame what happened in that playoff game against the Falcons, that's just a bummer. Number 20, Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward wore number 20 when he first came into the league, I believe. Who else has worn number 20? Didn't Brian Westbrook wore 20 when he came over from the Eagles? I believe Brian Westbrook wore number 20 as well. 87 says Ann. Yeah, of course, Dwight Clark. Harris Barton was 70. Was Harris Barton was 79, was he? I thought I thought 79 was, when did we retire 79? Cuz that must have been after, because 79 wasn't that Bob St. Clair? I thought we retired that number. When you guys start throwing out this, like the numbers in the 60s and the 70s, those are pretty tough because not many players wear those. Um, Died? I don't know if who mentioned Harris Barton dying. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. Derek Lavelle, yeah, he wore number 20. He was a running back, pretty decent. I think he was our kick returner for a while back in like the 80s and or 90s maybe. It was St. Clair, yeah, that's what I thought. Um, okay, let's throw out some other numbers here. Test my knowledge and test each other's knowledge too while we're at it. You're probably going to go for some random crazy number, but it is pretty fun to there was this meme that I saw, and the meme kind of it mentions like men, but I think it's for sports fans, where the meme is something to the effect of, I'm gonna say sports, where sports fans can basically just can like name players and just have like the best time ever. Oh, Mr. Jose was, I got you. Copy that. Pierce Holt was. I mean, maybe he meant was 70 as in when he played, but I don't know. But thank you for clarifying, Teddy Boy. Let's see. Let's throw out some other numbers. Billy Williams was 47 for Aaron. 47 is just a number that you don't see. 51. Okay, so we'll go with 51 first. For me, it's got to be Takeo Spikes. Back when you had Takeo Spikes and Patrick Willis, that was awesome. I think it was Ken Norton Jr. I want to say Ken Norton Jr. Did he wear? I think he wore 51 too. Ken Norton Jr. and but I kind of think of Takeo Spikes. Right now, does Jason Poe wear 51? Hmm. But I would go, yes, 51. I would say Takeo Spikes, and I believe Ken Norton Jr. as well. Yeah, Norton Jr. 86. Wow. 86. That's a number that you don't see many players wear anymore. 86. That was did what's his name? Did Brian Jennings wear 86? Our old long snapper? Oh, Randy Cross too. That's a good one, Randy Cross. Yeah. I think Brian Jennings used to wear 86, right? Christian, our old long snapper who had that really goofy like picture on like profile picture or what have you. Um, yeah, Randy Cross would go. But yeah, I would say I would go probably for 51. Yeah, Randy Cross is a good one. I forgot about Randy Cross, but I would have gone, yeah, Ken Norton Jr. or Artakeo Spikes. 86, I think Brian Jennings. I'm trying to think who else wore 86 for the 49ers. It's hard to pull off 86. There aren't many players who pull it off well. 83 is a good one. So 83, you know who I liked a lot was Arnaz Battle. I liked Arnaz Battle at number 83. Arnaz Battle, JJ Stokes was 83. Only 182, right? John Taylor. I mean, John Taylor. Now it's what, Ross Dwelly who wears 82, but it's got to be John Taylor if we're talking number 82. John Taylor for sure. But yeah, 83, I'd go Arnaz Battle. You got JJ Stokes. Ronald Nemia? I don't know. Ronald Nehemia? I that's over my head. Yeah, so 83, I'll go Arnaz Battle. 24. I really liked K1 Williams when I like K1 Williams a lot, number 24. Jennings was 86, and I did have to Google it. Yes. Yes. I was right with Brian Jennings, wasn't he? Yeah, it was Brian Jennings, I think, right? Yeah, Jennings 86, yeah. I'll keep my I'm not Googling it, but 24, I liked K1 Williams a lot. Remember when Michael Robinson, when we drafted him out of Penn State, and he was like a quarterback at Penn State? Then Michael Robinson ended up going up to Seattle, and now he works, I think, for NFL Network. But I believe Michael Robinson was 24 back around 2006, I think. We drafted Michael Robinson. He wore number 24. Mike Rumph wore 24. Former first round cornerback safety from Miami, first round pick, Mike Rumph, wore number 24. John Taylor, yeah. What number was Rice? Oh, I don't know. Only number I know, yeah. Number 88. Isaac Bruce. Isaac Bruce, those couple of years when we had Mike Martz and JT O'Sullivan. Isaac Bruce, number 88. I like JJ Stokes more than Battle. Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Stokes kind of got a bad rap. People didn't like him because he was a first-round pick, and they kind of expected him to be the next Rice or Owens, and he didn't live up to that. But he had some decent years. But I kind of liked Arnaz Battle. Arnaz Battle was kind of like a physical, gritty receiver. But 88, yeah, Isaac Bruce. I liked Isaac Bruce when he was here with the Niners for a couple of years. Derek Hamilton. Now that's a name. Let me throw it. Derek Hamilton. He was like a third round pick back in like 2003. That was the year number 81. It was, remember Rashawn Woods? We drafted him out of, I think it was Oklahoma. I want to say we drafted Rashawn Woods in the first round out of Oklahoma. He was wore number 81 after T.O. got traded to the Eagles. And then in the third round that year, we drafted Derek Hamilton, who did nothing for the 49ers. So I don't really know why I remember that as 80. Was Freddie Solomon, right? Was Freddie Solomon number 88 too? If I'm remembering correctly, I think Freddie Solomon wore 88. Robinson always picks against the Niners, says Sugar Nine. Yeah, I guess for whatever reason, maybe he didn't like Mike Nolan. Not many people did. Or Trent Baalke. Thanks for doing this live, Shifty. Totally fun and great to hang. Great to get psyched for Saturday night. Let's go Niners. Yeah, I'll be here for a couple minutes, guys. SG Sports Talk. How are we doing? Great to see you, buddy. Great to see you. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing very well. Just hanging out on this hump day Wednesday. Mike Sherrard was my 88, but I'm old. But wasn't Freddie Solomon 88? I don't want to look it up because that'd be cheating, but I think Freddie Solomon was. So Niners have no injuries. Yes, Solomon wore 88. There we go. There we go. So Niners have no injuries for the Packers game. Pretty much everyone is ready to go. I mean, Hufanga, of course, is on injured reserve. So, I mean, for the year, he's done. George Odom maybe will be ready to go, the special teams ace. That's going to be closer to a game time decision. But outside of that, pretty much everyone's ready to go, Teddy boy. All right, let's throw out a couple of more numbers, and then I'm going to call it a night. Can you send me the link? This is on YouTube. I actually don't know how to do that where I can get someone else in. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. So, sorry. Plus, I'm going to be ending this up pretty soon. But, yeah, let's throw out a couple more numbers, and then we'll call it a night. Yeah, and at night, it's nighttime where I am. The 78 kind of caught me out a bit. Wasn't actually, wait, 78 also was hey, we're talking Packers playoffs. Didn't Jordan Willis wear 78, I think, in that game a couple years ago when blocking the punt too, if I'm not mistaken? I want to say. Yeah, Solomon too, but he was a little bit. Yeah, and Solomon was before my time as well. I do remember Freddie watching like a bunch, highlights from like the game, like the NFC Championship game against the Cowboys with the catch and all that. I remember a lot of those like early mid 80s 49ers. Freddie Solomon was damn good player. Damn good player. You're not doing this on Streamyard? No, I'm not. I'm doing this on Streamlabs OBS. Okay, so let's go with 94. There's a lot of different ways you can go with 94. Justin Smith, of course. The Cowboy Justin Smith. Love Justin Smith. Don't you do your shows? I don't do my shows on StreamYard. So, yeah, the Cowboy Justin Smith, number 94. I think you got to say Charles Haley, too, 94. Charles Haley was, I think, the guy who coined the term the same old sorry Rams. Um, but, yeah, Haley, sure or not, yeah. Charles Haley, Justin Smith, Solomon Thomas, who didn't work out. Great guy by all accounts, but didn't work out on the field, really. Who else wore 94? I'm trying to think. That's such a cool number. Yeah, Justin Smith and Charles Haley are the two for sure. Number 33, says Ann. Well, let me... Roger Craig. I think we got to go Roger Craig, of course. Signed football, from Roger Craig. Signed by Roger Craig from Big Wave, who I don't think is here tonight, but Big Wave. Roger Craig, number 33. Remember Tony Parrish? Tony Parrish was the safety. I believe he wore number 33. Who else wore? Dana Stubblefield. That's a good one, Forktail. Yeah, Dana Stubblefield. He was really good. I think he wore number 94. You're right. Yeah, but Roger Craig, of course, number 33. And 33 is a cool number. I do like the numbers. Like, I like 11, 22, 33. But, yeah, Tony Parrish, I think, wore number 33. Remember Rashard Robinson, that kind of crazy safety out of LSU who had like a couple of good games? I think that was when Chip Kelly was the coach for that one year. Who wears number 33 now? I don't think anybody. Is there someone obvious that I'm missing? Oof. Yeah. But I would say, of course, Roger Craig, 33. And then for me, the next guy would be Tony Parrish. Would be the next guy who comes to mind at 33. Got a little busy in my shop, says Melissa. Now I need to close and head home, and I'll check to see if the stream will not still be going on. I'll be finishing up in a moment. Yeah, it's pretty rad. The Roger Craig, yeah, Big Wave, who's in the stream a bunch of times. he sent the football to me from California. It's so awesome. Simply click copy link and send the link to your guests on StreamYard. Yeah, again, I'm going to be hopping off SG in like a minute. So, um, but for future reference, that's really good to know. So thank you. I appreciate that. Last one. We'll go Christian. This is the last one. Number 36. I'm not going to attempt it because I would probably pull a muscle, but Merton Hanks with the, that was it, the chicken dance, Merton Hanks, 36, gotta love it. Yeah, Merton Hanks was just one of those really likable players. And he was one of those safeties too, who just had a knack for the ball. Like he was always in the right place at the right time. But yeah, Merton Hanks was awesome. You know who I kind of like too? I don't know why. I thought he was okay, but you guys remember again like the Mike Nolan-ish era? There was Shawntae Spencer. Shawntae Spencer. I want to say someone. I want to see how good my memory is. I believe Shawntae Spencer it was either a second or a third round pick, and I believe he went to Pittsburgh. Shawntae Spencer. If someone wants to fact check me on that, but Shawntae Spencer wore number 36, but I think he was a second or a third round pick. And I believe he went to Pittsburgh. And I want to say he was drafted probably 2004 maybe. But that's around there. I would guess. It's so cool that you can do a show on YouTube and you can still the link so people can hop on. That's true. Yeah, it's cool to have people be able to hop on and whatnot. Totally agree with you, SG. You're spot on, my man. Okay, fact check me on Shawntae Spencer, and then I'm gonna head on out of here. But thank you everybody too for as well for you know what? Let me just fact check myself and see how accurate I am. Shawntae Spencer. I think, yeah, he did go to Pitt, didn't he? In the second round, 2004. Damn. Wow. Look at that for just some like random knowledge right there. Shawntae Spencer, second round pick, 2004 out of Pitt. Crazy. Yeah, pick 58, 2004. There's dropping some knowledge right there on you. There you go. There you go. Shawntae Spencer. That's awesome. That's cool. I'm proud of myself for that one. Proud of myself. I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back for that. Yep, Shawntae Spencer. But yeah, number 36, got to be Merton Hanks. Alrighty, folks. I'm going to head on out of here. I got to get to bed. But yeah, feel free to watch back. For those of you, if you join late, you can always watch back the live shows. And we talked a lot about, and I did Google good memory. There we go. Some random things that just stick with me, but then I can meet someone and like they'll tell me their name and like 5 minutes later I'm like whoosh. But yep, if you guys want, if you're in work, if you're commuting, if you are working out or doing whatever over the next few days, and for those of you who joined late, you can always watch back. We talked about, I kind of gave some of my thoughts on like the 49ers, like the playoffs outlook. We talked about the game coming up on Saturday. Of course, guys, I am going to be here on Saturday I'm going to be doing the 49er game. It's going to be off the hook. It's going to be late here, so you're going to be hearing a lot of my quiet yelling, but I'll be yelling. It's going to be rad. So I hope you all can join me there. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully the Niners can pull it out. Enjoy the rest of the week, though. Yeah, I'm just counting down the hours till the game. But thank you all for hanging out, and appreciate all of you for being here and for making this super fun and enjoyable. And thanks for participating in the game and reliving. I hope you guys had fun with it too, just reliving some of these former players and whatnot. But Thanks very much, SG. I appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, another time we'll catch you where we can do a show together. But thank you very much, everybody. Peace out. Before I go, I'm going to say 2 things that the butt counts, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Let's go, Niners. Can't wait for Saturday. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. There we go. Come on. Let's go. There's a little quiet yelling for you to get you ready and pumped up for Saturday. Come on, Niners. Let's go. All right. Peace out, guys. We'll see you later in the week. Stay safe.